So today I wanted to do a video just talking about two of the conventions I did recently. The first one was in Nashville, and then a couple weeks later it was in Asheville. And this is the poster you see here for the event in Nashville. It's about a 5 hour drive if you just drive straight through from where I live here in Asheville. I decided to go to this one because number one, the table fee wasn't that. Well, I had the opportunity to go because my daughter had like a dental appointment that Friday, so I just kept her out of school. And so after she her dental appointment in the morning, we just headed on over to Nashville, and then we stayed a couple nights. Me, my daughter, and my son stayed a couple nights in the hotel there, and did the show on. It was Saturday. It was a one-day event, and I did it also because I thought Nashville, it's a bigger city, one of the biggest cities that's within driving distance. Um, and I was hoping to be able to kind of like reach a different group of people, different potential backers or readers or supporters, fans, whatever you want to call it. And so I figured I would just go ahead and give it a shot and see how it is. But you can see on the poster it says pop culture event, and I would say that was pretty accurate because I think I was the only person selling comic books. I saw a few people selling prose novels. There was a guy behind me, and there was a guy on the other end of the end of the row, and but everybody else was selling Funko Pops and stuff like that. Let me see. I'll go through the pictures. So this first one, you see the room was pretty small. They call it a ballroom, uh, but it just seemed like just really small to me. So I think on the plan it said that there were about 50 different vendors, uh, but I don't know how they fit 50 people in here because so we were like in the middle of the room. And then behind us, you see there's a table there. Well, directly behind us, this is where everybody, the people who had tables, loaded up stuff. So people weren't, customers and stuff weren't walking back here. So that's a dead space. And then the table behind us, and then there's a table back up against this wall. And then you had them here. And then in front of us was another set of tables. But they also had some people outside of this room, like just outside when you first come in, that was there. So it's in a hotel, so it's a pretty small thing, which is what I figured it would be. Um, and if you can see here, this is the new setup that I have in our first convention in Hickory. I had it set up differently. I didn't have this whole thing. I had the curtain in the back. I mean the backdrop, the black backdrop, and the hung stuff there. And then I just had one of these over here with this rack. So I bought more of these metal grid things, and I made it so it's like an arch goes across, and just had it set up like this. So I think this is a better display, but I'm going to change this again, and for the convention coming up, which is also back in Hickory this weekend, I'll have a different setup as well. So when that's finished, I'll make a video about that and post that up on my Substack and talk about all that kind of stuff. Um, so as far as the show goes, like I said, it was a pretty small room. I think there was a decent turnout for what it was. The problem was that I saw like the same people over and over again. So it's like people come in and it was just a very small group of people that were actually, coming to the event. So it was pretty limited, and I don't know. Again, I didn't see people. It was definitely better than the first convention, Hickory, where I didn't really see anybody selling anything. But I don't think, because I talked to the people over here, they were selling like Japanese stuff, like all kinds of little tchotchke kind of things, like pencils and notepads and everything, but they're all from Japan. Because I heard him talking to somebody saying that they knew somebody who lived in Japan and they could get all this kind of stuff. And then I talked to him later myself and about some of the things, and he said their show was like so. They've done shows and gotten a lot better than this. But like you see the girl next to us on the other side, she's got things, like things you put in your hair and all these little kind of stuff like that, arts and crafts kind of thing. And I think that was mostly what it was. You see the guy in the back with the Funkos. There was like four different vendors selling Funko Pops. Um, so for us, it was definitely better than Hickory as far as we actually sold stuff. I think I sold one copy of Neotheric. I think I sold two copies of 6-8. My daughter sold a couple copies of her book. I gave away some of the ash cans of Gun Engine Zero because that campaign was still going on. And I talked to some people. Some guy came up and he said he had a podcast and he would, write to me and everything because I gave him a flyer that has the my email address and the website and everything, but haven't heard from him. Uh, so we did sell things. The problem is that it costs so much money to go there. So it's not just the gas to drive 10 hours. It was also the hotel. So, I spent maybe about $500 in total to go to this show. And maybe only made like less than 50 bucks. So it wasn't great. And next year, if I'm still doing this next year, I would not go back to the show. It's definitely more pop culture related than it is comic books or books. Um, mm, and this time it was funny because in Hickory, I think, like I said, that a lot of people came over just looking at the stickers and the metal cards and stuff. That brought a lot of people to the table. This time, it was like nobody looked at that stuff, so it was kind of strange. And so just to show just took a couple pictures of it. It's my son, and that's the flyer that I just give away. It kind of shows like all of the books I've done so far, and I used it to try to promote the Gun Engine Zero campaign with that QR code. And then I also have that little image at the bottom that's with the horror anthology that I want to do next in a couple months. So I just give that out to people. Hopefully, you know, even if they're not interested at the time when they come up to the table, maybe they'll have that when they go home, and then they'll look, check out the website and everything. There's my daughter. We got her books up on this little stand there, and same thing. So this time I had these lights up on here, so just to shine up everything, make it more easily, because sometimes the lighting in the room, wherever you are at any convention, the lighting's all up top and sometimes very far away. So it kind of if I make this cage sort of setup, you can make some of the things on the inside a little bit harder to see. So I just put these little lights on there. They run off of batteries, and they'll last for quite a while. I tested, I think it's like 12 hours they'll run. So it's plenty of time for a show. So you see, I got them on the top there, and then it's behind this book here to shine up this area back here, keep it lit up. Uh, and my daughter bought this little scrunchy thing from the lady that was next to us selling the Japanese stuff. She thought that was cute, so that was 10 bucks there. Uh, yeah, so that's about it. Like I said, if we did this again, I would not go to this specific show. Um, but I think now this weekend there's another convention in Nashville, and I think it's a bigger event and it's more focused on comic books. So again, if I'm doing this next year, I may consider that one instead of this one. All right, so then the next one, a couple weeks later, we went to here in Asheville. This was like in a huge building. It looks kind of like a airplane hangar kind of thing. I had been in here before with my kids. We went to, it was like a RV show, and we just would go just to have something to do. So this was a huge place, and there was a lot of vendors here. It had to be at least over 100 vendors, and so I have the same setup as I did in Nashville, except that I forgot to bring the lights. And also they gave us all the tables were 8 foot tables, not 6 foot tables. So instead of trying to change this cage thing, what I did is I just put my daughter's stuff on the outside here on the edge. So that way it's kind of separate from everything else and people take a look at it. Um, and there was I had to take my son to the bathroom. It was about 1:30, 2 o'clock. We went out back here, and there were still people waiting to get in to the event. They were lined up out all the way outside. So there was a huge turnout to this place, to this event. So it was pretty good. Uh, and it turned out really good for us because table fee was only $20. These are the same people run this show are the ones that run the show in Hickory, which we'll be going to again this weekend. And they only charge $20 for a table, so which is good. And it was in Asheville, so there was no other expenses right in town, so it only took us like 10 minutes to get there. And we sold several books. I think I sold like 2 or 3 copies of Neil Therick, 2 or 3 copies of 6/8. I sold some prints, some of the 11 by 17s, the 8 by 10s, the mini prints. Some kids came over and bought some stickers. Another kid bought like a mini print. And again, I was giving out the ash can, copies of the ash can, giving out my flyer, trying to pump up the Gun Engine Zero campaign one last time, hopefully try to save it. But it didn't work. And but this is basically we were pretty much saved by one guy. There was one guy who came by and he bought Neil Therick. He bought 6/8. He bought my daughter's book and she signed it for him. He bought a mini print. He bought 11 by 17. He bought an 8 by 10, stickers. He got basically like one of everything except Book of Legend. So far, I haven't been able to sell one copy of that book. Um, so I think he spent like around like $70, just him alone. So we made something over like $100 at this show, which obviously is not great, but hey, if you're only paying $20 for the table and it's right in town, so it was pretty good. And so far, this was definitely the best convention for us. They're sitting back there playing PSP. And these are some other people. I think my son took this picture. As we're setting up, and so you can see this. I don't know how many rows there were. There's going to be like 20 rows here. And there was 3 columns basically. So it's like this one, we were in the middle, and then there was another one over here. And in each section, I think it was like 3 or 4 tables long each section. So there's a lot of vendors, a lot of people here. And just there you see again, yeah, you see over here, there's the other row of people there. And again, people are selling everything, these kind of things, the cosplay stuff. little prints and things, Funkos, of course, Legos. Every time we go to an convention, there's always somebody selling Legos, and they always pick up some Legos. I get some too. I've started a little collection of minifigs myself. Um, so I think that's it. Yeah. So this was a good convention for us. It was a good time. We finally start selling some books, and hopefully we'll keep going with this. And next convention we'll sell more. But the next convention, like I said, this weekend it's going to be in Hickory again. This is the very first convention we went to in the same location, exact same location. So I'm just going to try it again because it's just $20 for the table. It's not that far from here. And I'm going to have a whole new setup. So I want to try the new setup because then 2 weeks after we're going down to Orlando and we'll have a show there. And I'm just going because I have family in Orlando. We can stay there, and it's my sister's house, and she lives like she said like 5 minutes from the hotel where this is going to be. So since it's a hotel, I'm assuming it's going to be another small room like we had in Nashville, and it's going to be a similar situation. Hopefully there'll be more people, and we can sell some more stuff. And uh, I'm hoping that the the new setup that I've put together will kind of help people's eye, kind of direct them to the books. That's the main thing is I want to sell the books. So I'll have, pictures and I'll talk about that later to see how that went um, after this Hickory convention because I'll have that there. And then we'll also do after the Orlando convention. And then after that, I've got a couple more as well. And I don't think I have any in July, but I think there's one in August, and there may be a couple more in like September and October that we'll do. So I'll just keep doing this and see how it goes for this first year doing these conventions, and then I'll reevaluate everything and see if we'll keep doing it the next year in 2023. But for now, that's all. Thanks for checking out this video. And if this is the kind of thing that interests you, definitely subscribe and like the video. It can help and help me know if people are really interested in this and I'm not just doing this for myself. But until next time, we'll see you after the Hickory Con.